Gastonia, for God's sakes.
Well, you get what you pay for, guys. I'm sorry. We'll explain that to the listeners here in a second.
Yeah, Plethora and Gastonia goes hand in hand. Welcome to Bourbon and Badges, the podcast, Season 6, Episode 2. The usual suspects, Rod Nader, Storm Ride, and Hound Dog. And we got a nice, handsome, furry-faced gentleman, Thomas Doby, down there. How we doing, sir?
Great, doing great.
Retired Sergeant Thomas Doby from the Gastonia Police Department.
That's right.
And Doby, let's say up front, man, for our listeners and viewers don't know what all we're going through, man. We are just having a horrific time trying to get this audio, video stuff to work for us today. So
it's been a learning experience.
Thanks for being patient, man. I tell you, we appreciate you being on the show.
Oh, I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah,
that's true.
You can pretend we're professionals. We'd appreciate it. Anyway,
I know two of you very well.
Well, I'm here to tell
that
you,
shit won't fly, will it? No.
it's our second day of trying to pull this thing off this week, and had we all done it one night, we'd all be just so drunk we couldn't stand ourselves.
Oh my God!
Or maybe we could stand ourselves even better.
That is true.
Okay, retired Gastonia Police Officer Thomas Doby from the Gastonia PD. Welcome to the show, brother.
Elijah Craig.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate your patience.
All right.
Man,
I'm enjoying it, loving it.
let's go and get this out of the way. What are we drinking? Because we all need a drink by now.
Rod Nader's holding up a bottle of Four Roses small batch. That's what I'm going to be drinking today.
Good pick.
That is cool. I wish
What you got,
I
Hound
wish
Dog?
everybody would do that.
Oh, nice. Elijah Craig, he's holding up. Nice.
What about you there, Sergeant retired Thomas Doby?
I am drinking a straight bourbon from Casey Jones Distillery.
Casey Joe. Oh, okay, nice.
It's a 90 proof. Really cool thing about it, it has the mash bill already on the label.
Oh, there's a mash bill. Nice.
And
Yeah, total disclosure. I like that.
And it says 80%
Yeah.
corn, yellow corn, 16% rye, 4% malted barley, and it says it's a let's see. It says banana nut bread, nose oak forward, semi-sweet body, malt chocolate rye finish.
Wow, so it covers everything. Nose, taste, everything.
It's 9 proof. If you actually go to their website, get their backstory, it's pretty good. But they also have different types of bourbons and things. Actually, they have some different flavors of moonshine type stuff too. But this one, a friend of mine, Ashley Ritchie, a friend of mine, gave it to me as a gift, and it's been.
Oh, that's the best kind, free liquor.
Yeah, it's really good. And the
It
price,
tastes so much better when it's free.
I want to say if you get it at the distillery, it's a little more, but they were able to get it in a liquor store in Kentucky, and I want to say that it was like $35 to $40, something to that.
That's a good
from that
price point.
ballpark.
Yeah.
So
You can't drink all
pretty
day if you
reasonable
don't
from what
start
I
in the
can
morning.
remember.
George Dickel, gentlemen, bottled in bond, blue label.
Nice.
You want the whiskey, not a bourbon this time. It's only
You're a rebel.
because
You're a rebel.
it looks like, if you could see it, if you're not on the video side, it looks like Hound Dog's bottles is 2/3 gone.
Yeah. Oh, it is gone, yeah.
I think Hound Dog starts like 12 noon drink because he
So do we have
never
to get
brings
on
it like
Adobe
a full
on it?
bottle to the. That's true.
It's true. He holds it up. It looks like a large spit cup. Just a little bit of spit in the bottom of it. Yeah.
Speaking of cups, I mean, this is something I highly recommend. You can Google them, you get different kinds, but it's an oak tumbler. And it's supposed to be for drinking bourbon, enhance the flavor kind of thing. I've been very pleased with it. I like it a lot. They're about
That's pretty cool. It's just got your name on it, Doby.
Yep.
Cool.
What's so special about it? What is what's
Not you just really like me, but I mean, you can get one that says Steve on it.
We get one that says Doby adjacent, so we're next to her drinking.
So it's supposed to enhance the flavor and the way you're supposed to drink it if you're drinking it neat and that kind of thing. It's pretty good. The flavor is really good on it. I like it. It's kind of sealed. It's sealed with honey wax, and you kind of rinse it out. You can use like a light dish detergent, but it's not something you just really scrub. Kind of like your grandma's cast iron frying pan.
I learned that in the South, you don't wash your fucking skillets, boys. You got to leave a little bit of flavor in there for next time.
And you don't wash your feet either.
Yeah, no feet.
yeah,
don't wear any shoes and walk around the yard and don't fucking wash your feet. You're conditioning them. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we got our drinking down. We have a guest, and I guess we want to hear about the canine. I know during my career, you guys were lifesavers. You made my job easier. and you made my job more satisfying when your dog bit that son of a bitch that I was chasing and I couldn't catch. So I appreciate that. At the end of the day, I had a smile on my face. But so
And
anyway,
what makes these people think they can outrun that dog is beyond me.
No idea.
No.
I have no idea.
It's a friggin' missile.
And the second if I was big, I hear a barking dog, I'm done. I'm out. I'm good. I'll take on a human, but I'm not taking on a dog. Yeah. So anyway, let's start. Your career, Gastonia, right? You start, what year did you start in?
I started in Gastonia in 1999.
1999, I guess, went straight through rookie school
you
and then went to
old, Doby.
patrol, right?
I'd always been through rookie school because I worked with Cleveland County Sheriff's Department for a year before that.
Oh,
So
okay.
I just went straight to Roseville. It's kind of the lateral kind of deal.
Lateral over. Nice.
So I went there and started on patrol. I stayed on patrol, just straight patrol, for about 3 years. So from 99, early 2002, late 2002, early 2003 is when I got into canine. And I started canine school in early 2003 over in Charlotte with a guy by the name of Brian Russell. He was my canine trainer.
Love Brian Russell. Brian Russell's a good dude.
Phenomenal.
The
phenomenal.
dog whisperer.
Oh, yeah. He's one of the best canine trainers I've ever met.
Well, he's a good dad, a good husband, a good man. Period.
Yeah, and he's just
got
so laid back. You can't help but learn from him.
Yeah.
He's easy to learn from, and he knows his shit.
Fantastic. And how long was your canine school?
14 weeks.
14 weeks, and you got they introduced you to a dog week one.
Yeah,
and you
well,
go from there.
I picked my dog up a couple weeks before because what we used to do, we'd try to get the dog about 2 weeks ahead of time. And you'd start bonding with the dog, feeding him, no training, just playing with him, feeding him.
Sure.
He gets used to. So when you start and you get into school and you have to discipline the dog, he's realized, okay, this is not just anybody that's jerking on my chain or correcting me. This is daddy. This is the person that feeds me. I have this.
The alpha. Yeah,
he's the alpha. So, and the first day you start with a really, really long walk. I mean, just working on lead control, healing, just getting them used to you. And it's just baby steps from there on till you build. And it's 14 weeks of 8 hours a day. So 5 days.
You're building a relationship.
Correct. And you got to start with that bond. And if you don't have that bond, you're really not going to go anywhere because that dog's
You got to trust each other. You got to trust each other, just like a human relationship. Right.
Correct. And if he don't trust you when you start having to discipline, because here's the thing, you got to build that dog up. He's going to be a warrior. He's got to be on the street, and he's got to realize he is the baddest thing on the street, except for you.
Right.
So,
Except for daddy.
Yep.
Right.
So anybody else, you're the man, except when it comes to daddy.
Right.
So you're having to build that relationship because they're like cops. They're built to be in the middle of shit, So you got to build them up to that, but you also have to maintain that control.
And I tell you, a lot of people don't realize these are not ordinary shepherds or Belgians that we're having. These are imported dogs, and they back when I retired in 2015, I think we paid like $8,200 a dog.
Right.
For a green dog, and W, you can explain what a green dog is, but yeah, this is these are not your run of the mill backdoor backyard mutt.
No, they are
breeders, right?
Yeah, we get them where we've been getting ours from. I think Charlotte's doing a lot of those too because Brian has gotten some from them too, and different people. But we go to those, and I shout out to Betosta Kennels. They're in Scotland Neck, North Carolina. A lady by the name of Tennessee Bowling. Her customer service is phenomenal. And there's a guy that works for her named Mike. Mike does a lot of the training, picking out these dogs and different things. And these dogs are all imported from Europe, from kennels, from breeders. These dogs are specifically bred to go be a police dog, go be a military dog. So they're completely different standard than what you're used to seeing.
High strung, high energy, super
High drive.
Intelligent.
Right.
Everything we're not.
Right. So,
Everything this podcast is not.
Yeah.
Not anymore for sure.
So now you go ahead.
Yeah, W, you're liable to lose some IQs just for being on this show, by the way. Just
Oh, well.
disclaimer there.
There you go. So you're not only do you have to get acclimated with the dog's got to learn his role.
Right.
And you got to learn your role with the dog, and that's what canine school is all about. So he has to learn the difference of course, the biting aspect, the tracking aspect, the signaling. Right. There's a whole plethora, if you will. I like that word, plethora. I want to fit that in the fucking podcast. Yeah, I want to fit that in here of things he's got to learn. So could you kind of run down a little bit of that and give us a little bit of of the cross training, the training you guys do?
Right. Most of what our guys do, Charlotte, unless you go to some place who has a
Yeah.
specific dog for a specific purpose, you'll have what they call single purpose dogs, which is good. You might see a lot of labs in that role. They may be just dope or just searching for drugs or just for bomb stuff. And that's pretty much all they do. They just search for that one thing. But for a police department on the road, you're going to look for what we call a dual purpose dog. A dual purpose dog means he's basically a jack of all trades. He does pretty much a little bit of everything, which is one of the reasons you use Belgian Malinois, Dutch Shepherds, German Shepherds.
Yeah.
Because they're not the best tracking dog. That's a bloodhound. That's a different story. But they are very good at a wide variety of things. So they teach them that apprehension or the bite work or the handler protection. That's to protect the officer. It's also to get the bad guy when the bad guy's being aggressive. And they'll teach them. We teach them to bite right hand first because most people are right-handed, so that takes away your weapon threat.
Yeah.
A lot quicker.
Yep.
But we also teach them to, if say the bad guy's left-handed and now he decides he's going to start punching the dog in the head, which I've seen that happen. So that dog can say, you're not going to sit there and punch me in the head. I'm going to go somewhere else, and I'm going to get what I need to get to stay in the fight. So then you teach them tracking, which they can track.
And what that means is he'll release the arm and then go bite somewhere else on the body?
He'll just kind of freelance. He'll go, okay, you're trying to beat my ass. I'm not going to let it.
He'll corn cop you. That's what he'll do.
So he'll chomp wherever he wants. He'll start taking bits and pieces of your ass.
Right. It's kind of like us as cops. You're taught to do things a certain way, but if it gets bad, you got to go home.
Right.
So the dog is the same way. He's like, okay, if this guy's punching me in the head, I ain't having it.
So he'll escalate force in his own dog mind.
Right.
He'll go from the arm. Yeah, that's awesome.
So he'll do what he needs to do to survive.
Hey, and just like us guys, the bad guy dictates the level of force that dog is going to use.
Correct. And like
Exactly
if a dog
right.
starts biting a guy and he's just still, I know this is a hard concept for some people to get, but if you're still, we tell officers this too, just in case they happen to get in the way, be still. Because that's going to take a lot of that fight out of that dog. He's just not a threat. It's not fighting him back. But you panic and start jerking and kicking, game on. It changes his mind. He escalates because he's like, oh, this is a threat. This is fighting me. This is trying to hurt me. I'm not going to let it happen.
Oh, and I tell you, a funny side note, along that very same thing, telling the officer to stand still. You know, the officer recognizes the uniform. But we had to go in and teach new guys, the rookies, that once, the dog's in the chase, he's engaged the bad guy, he is hyped up. He's pumped up. He's hyped up. He's like, And then after the dog catches the bad guy, the rookie wants to come up there and start slapping the handler on the back. Hey, man, great job. And that dog's still hyped up. The dog goes, oh, don't be hitting daddy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
That's a good point.
the rookie can get bit.
That is a good point. That's a good point.
And another thing to these dual-purpose dogs, they'll do building searches. Like, really, a lot of the building searches we do are schools after hours. Somebody broke into a school or a building, and they go search and find the bad guy. Because he could go by check a door. No, the bad guy's not in this door. He goes and sniffs this next door in line. And say it's at a school. And he goes down to this classroom. Bad guy not here. Next door, bad guy's not here. Third door, bad guy's still not here. Fifth door, wait a minute. Bad guy's in here. Whereas that's a lot more efficient than us going into the room, checking it, clearing it, go to the next room, check it, and make sure nobody's. We did it 3 or 4 times. We're getting behind the clock. Time is not on our side as much. Dog goes sniffs 3 or 4 doors, sniffs that 5th door. Wait a minute, he's in here. And another thing that some people don't realize we do, there is a certain portion of liability on our part. So before we do these building searches, before we send this dog in, because we send him into a building to look for somebody, he's on a mission. He's got a job. He knows he's looking for this guy. This guy's hiding in a building at night, dark, concealed. We don't know what he's got, what his intentions are, other than he's gone to this school at 3 o'clock in the morning. So we give warnings for liability purposes. So we give these warnings. We give at least 3 clear, precise vocal warnings. Hey, bad guy come out. You might have your hands up. If you don't, dog's going to find you. The dog's going to bite you, so on and so on. And we do that. We usually give them 3, 4, 5 minutes. And we look at the size of that building. Say it's a big school. And we got, we'll make sure we're really loud. If we get to a point where, okay, we've gone through half of, say, Ashbrook High School, and what guy may not have heard me, we'll do it again. We get to a door, and the door is closed, and the dog's alerting or sniffing and barking, letting us know, hey, he's in here. We may give another warning to say, hey, we've given you every chance you can. So it's not. We're doing what we can to avoid you getting bit, if at all possible.
And Doug, let me help paint this picture. When they're giving this warning, that dog's hyped up. He's on his hind legs. He's pulling on that lead, and he's just all hyped up. And while a bad guy hides in there thinking that dog ain't going to find you and making all that noise, man, it makes the hair in the back of your neck stand up.
I had one perfect example of that, Steve. I had one down at perfect example of that. I had one at Hunter Hills High School in a trailer. They thought the guy was in there. I gave warning. You know how these mobile trailers are? They're not big, right?
Right.
So I give my warnings. Nobody comes to the door. Give my warnings again. He goes to a door. I give my warnings a second time. Nobody answers. Like, okay, open the door. He's right there. Gets popped in the arm. Gets bit in the arm. I gave you warning before I went in. I gave you warnings at the door, and you sat there.
And you hear the dog.
Right. And you hear him barking. I don't know if you got a gun, knife, you're concealed. I don't know. 3 o'clock in the morning, who's breaking into school for some reason?
I just wouldn't think you were bluffing when you're outside the door saying, yeah, I'm going to send a dog and he's going to bite you. Like, I'm going to take your word for that. Like, I'm going to be, with that. And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's nothing stealthy about it. You know he's coming.
Yeah. Yeah, and you want them to know because, like you said, the liability aspect. Because I know every time, confirming what you said, every time canine, come on out, gonna send a dog in, 3 times, gonna come and send. I mean, the canine would say that 3 times in a row. It seemed like, and the dog would be barking his ass off. Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. That's all you got to hear. Mm-hmm. And then after that, but so my thing was, these big buildings too. When you let the dog go, you're no longer necessarily like, especially if you have to put him through a window or something. You're no longer with him to give him commands when he gets a certain distance from you. So if he encounters this guy, it's going to be a second before you can get up and have him release him from being ragdolled.
Right.
Is that right?
There's a certain
ragdoll. That's excellent.
There is, and that is a certain aspect to it. It takes time. I mean, it's just like anything else. It's a reaction time. Like if say you send the dog, and we do what's called a recall, which basically means. And they're trained in this, and they go every year to get certified and make sure that they pass this test to still be able to perform at this certain level. So we do what's called a recall, which means you send the dog after the bad guy. Bad guy's running. And we do this in practice with what we call a decoy, which is another officer who's dressed in a bite sleeve, which is the protective equipment to keep them from biting, but helps us be able to teach the dog how to bite. So what we do is we send them. The dog gets about 30 yards out. We tell them, no, here, come back. And the dog spins around and comes back to us.
Oh, nice.
So we can do what's called a call off, or there's different names for it, but we can actually tell the dog to let go. And he'll come back off and let go and come back.
You're talking after he engages the bad guy.
Yeah, after he's actually engaged, or for common terms, bit the bad guy. So we can actually call him back to us. I had one time. Sent the dog to bite a guy. He was wanted for some sexual offense crimes and things of that nature.
Not the dog, the bad guy.
Bad guy. Not the Great Dane or the Rottweiler.
Yeah, last episode, we had to specify it last episode.
We've had some dog issues on the show, but go ahead.
Yeah. So you send the dog, and the guy was wanted for some sexual assault crimes. So, and he was a known, confirmed, verified gangbanger too. So I sent him, and he gives up. He puts his hands up. And I tell Vader, it's my very last one. And I tell him, no, here, come back. His ears kind of go back. Like, wait a minute. Dave's calling me. He slows down and starts to stop and starts to look at me. And all of a sudden, the guy decides for some reason that he wants to run again. And at that point, Vader's like, hell no, I'm gone. He's running again. Mm-hmm. So, and he decided to run again. So Vader that time caught him.
It's so funny. The dog pauses for a second to look back, and the guy thinks, hey, I got a half a second head start on this motherfucker. I can
not run a dog. That's no problem.
What the hell? Are you a track star? I mean, unbelievable.
Well, I've had people tell me, I'll outrun your dog. Okay.
Yeah. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes
go.
Comes to mind.
Yeah. Let's test this theory. Hey, awesome. Little segue I almost missed, but just you're talking about recalling the dog. A canine and our dogs. And it's funny I say that because we had one bad guy say, "Hey man, you got them canine dogs?" Everybody thinks that a police dog is called canine, but all dogs are canine by their teeth. But yeah, the canine is one piece of equipment that cannot be taken away from the officer and used against him. It's the only use of force that we can deploy and recall. We're talking about at first, buying a green dog or untrained dog at $200 a dog. But at the end of his career, he's like 82 cents an hour to operate that dog.
Wow.
And there's another factor. There's another thing to go off what Steve's saying is, like, we keep stats, and by law we keep stats, and we'll go into how much training we have to have, because that's required. Well, Supreme Court says you need 16 hours minimum a month to maintain the reliability of that dog. So we do a lot of training, we document it, and it's in this computer system and things like that. So we keep track of how many people the dog's found, how many people he's bit, how many he's done this, how many people he's tracked, how much dope he's found, how many drugs he's found, how much money he's seized. So, but the one thing that you cannot put a numerical. It's kind of that X factor that you can't put any kind of statistic on it, but we know it's there. The prevention. You cannot measure how much prevention that Justice or my second dog Vader pulls up and they're raising immortal hell in the back of that car. And this guy says, I'm not going to try to take that police's gun. I'm not going to try to run. I'm not going to fight these guys. I'm not going to try to assault this cop, because we have what's called a bailout door. And what that means is every officer has a button, a little tab on their uniform, and they keep it.
Every canine officer.
Every canine officer has it. Yeah, every canine officer has this button. It's called a bailout door, and there's basically a hydraulic shock in the door. So you punch the button, door automatically comes open. So
and
guess where
and here comes that missile.
Now comes your backup.
and he's coming looking for Daddy, and I don't have to give him a command. I don't have to get off his name. He's somebody's fighting Daddy. He's going to jump in.
Step aside, Daddy. I got this.
That's awesome, dude.
In
case of emergency, break glass. That's what the fuck that is.
It is. Another cool thing about that whole system is, and Steve and Reg can tell you this, it's also called a heat alarm hot dog system, which is it's also set up now to where we have it set up to now where it can have an app on your phone, and you can actually use an app on your phone, and there's an ambient temperature inside. So if the temperature gets above a certain temperature, then we usually run ours. If it gets above 83 degrees, then it sets off an alarm, and you can actually have it set up where it'll call dispatch, and dispatch says, Officer Akers' car the alarm's going off. He needs to go check on his dog.
Oh, okay. So that's in case the dog is in the car.
Car cuts off. It's hot.
It cuts. Right.
So we save the dog. We don't worry about the dog getting hurt.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I tell you, during training stuff, we'd all, had 2 training days a month. We'd train. We'd all go eat lunch together, and countless times people come in the summertime. Hey, officer, you realize you left your car running because the dog's in it. Mm-hmm. Or you have somebody come in. I can't believe you're leaving your dog in that old hot car. Well, the car's running with AC on it, and we, like I said, we have the alerts that's going to let us know if something goes awry with that car.
Right. That's great. That's great.
And they also have water in the car, and the windows are also tinted to keep the temperature down.
Right.
So they're very well taken care of.
That's awesome. Now, in Gastonia, do you guys take your dog home? Does he actually live with you?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's generally the rule for most departments, because, one, somebody has to take care of the dog, period.
Right.
So you can't leave him we have kennels at the PD for emergencies, but one is to bond with the handler. 2, it's just if somebody has to be there 24/7 with that dog. It's like a lot of people don't realize that when a handler goes on vacation, he has to have somebody take care of that dog. He can't go to the beach and take, Sure. So usually what we always do is the other handlers come by, take care of the dog, feed the dog. So it's a constant thing, even when you're off. So
it's like you have a child. It's like having a child.
Right. It's not like that
physical
radio you put on the desk or at night table when you're done. At the end of the day, you still got to go. If you're off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you still got to go feed him, clean his kennel, brush him, let him out, play with him, that kind of thing. So there is a lot of work to it. And these guys actually spend more time with that dog a lot of times than they do their own family, because they work with them. They go there 2 training days a month. They have any specialized training they go to. When they're off, they take care of them. So it's a constant job.
Right.
And you meant certification too. We go to certification this year, 3 or 4 days, sometimes close to a week. Not only the dogs certifying, but they're rated as well against each other for each region, and trophies are awarded. And when I had the pleasure of being over the canine division had nothing to do with me. It was the trainers and the guys and their dogs. But man, we always kicked butt and always brought back trophies.
Yeah, they did well.
Gastonia PD, has an excellent training program.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate, and administration's always been very supportive of us. So it's a thing, and a lot of people like the certification that we go through, in like for another law enforcement officer, you think of it this way: every year you have to go qualify. Mm-hmm. Same thing, you have to go qualify. You have to go drive to make sure you're maintaining that standard, because you don't want a dog not to train, and you get out there and he goes to bite somebody, and you just recall him like we did earlier, and that guy gives up, and he's like, "Oh, I forgot. You haven't been training me. You don't want to do that." So.
All right,
do that
just
for
give me just a second, guys. Let me throw something out there. We have been plagued with audio-video issues, and we just lost Hound Dog. I don't think he's recording anymore. So if you don't hear Hound Dog in the background, that's why. He's still with us. We still see that pretty mug of his, but he got kicked off. So business as usual, though. We're keep on, W.
Yeah, so we have to maintain that standard. And a lot of people don't realize how much work in law enforcement goes into making sure that we do the right thing as far as search and seizure or an apprehension or bite or searching a car, things like that. There's a lot of work that goes into that to make sure, because canine is one of the most high liability areas in law enforcement. So
Sure.
There's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes to make sure that dog is, and a friend of mine told me a long time ago, he said, when you start training your dog, and Brian Russell told me the same thing, Rocky Smith told me the same thing, obedience is the foundation to everything you do. So he can go search for his drugs and find drugs and that kind of thing. He can go find lost kids. He can go find bad guy. He can do agility work or find evidence that's been dropped. But the thing is, if you don't have the obedience first, you're not going to shit.
Yeah.
Oh, don't listen. No good to anybody.
Yeah, you could even. I mean, children. You don't have obedience in your child.
Correct.
What happens? It just goes off the rails.
That's what's wrong with this podcast, man.
Look at these faces on this fucking show.
Hey, Hound Dog.
Going off the rails.
Hound Dog, sign out and sign back in so we get you back on here, brother.
So when we're talking about the drugs and the certification, and the dual purpose, like these dual purpose dogs like we get, they do a little bit of everything. So they find articles that the bad guys dropped. I remember one time Steve kind of put me on the spot. So we go out. This guy has lost a set of keys. He's lost
a dear friend of mine, by the way.
Do what?
A dear friend of mine.
Was it
Harry
okay.
Nizer?
Yeah. So he lost his keys to the post office. Is that correct, Steve? You worked for the post office?
Yeah, he did. Yes, he's a mail carrier.
So he said, and I go out there, and he says, we looked at him. I said, "Where'd you have your keys?" Out there, and it's like a wooded area near his house. I'm like, I go back and get my dog, and there was Steve was right there. I said, I looked to see. I said, I'm like pissing in the wind, but we're gonna try.
Oh yeah.
At least, we're gonna give the guy, give him our best effort. So,
Right.
And Steve says, "Well, if this dog can't find them, no other dog can find them." I'm like, shit, I ain't gonna find them. I'm thinking.
Yeah, and let me set that stage, W. Yeah, a dear friend of mine, and he calls, "Hey man, I lost my keys. They were cutting wood up in the woods beside the house. Do you have like a metal detector? The police department, anything like that?" I said, "No, we got something better. We got Doby." So go ahead.
So, and the thing about that, keys and metal are one of the harder things to find. We train to find them, but metal keys do not hold odor. It's just metal does not hold odor very well. So, and it had rained bad like a couple of days before, and I'm thinking this is not happening. So, but we're gonna do everything we can for this guy. In my mind, I'm like, I hope I can find these. That I'll be impressed with the dog.
Yeah.
So I go out there and I give him command search. He searches.
That's cool.
He searches. He searches to a point. This was my second dog Vader. So he searches to a point. I'm like, he's getting tired. So he's not losing interest because he's not. He's working his ass
I'm
off.
pretty sure Slow Ride keeps on
so I set him
cutting
down,
me off on his end.
give him a little bit of a break, and start him again. And he searched for another 2 to 3 minutes, and all of a sudden
he said on the podcast, I can just cut you off at the push of a button. That's what he's been doing. That's what he's been doing.
Damn keys.
Yeah,
I be damn.
Oh yeah,
You found
and
it.
Harry was hooked. Man, that was the catch me out. He was like, man,
That's
But
impressive.
that was he was a jam up little dog. He was that was him. So he worked his ass off till we found him. So I was impressed with him.
Hey, welcome back, Hound Dog.
Yep.
Jealousy. It's a fucking jealousy thing. Yeah, he doesn't want you to have any. He doesn't want you to have any of the glory of the show. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. I'm in control over here, guys. Maybe that's what's wrong with the podcast. I'm in control. Hey, all y'all guys know me. I can push a button.
Yeah, you sure can. Yeah, you can. Oh yeah. So, Doby, as far as tracking, I know we talked about the keys, but humans, any good stories about your dog finding somebody? Anything, did you do much of that, or was most of your stuff just criminal type things?
Honestly, tracking, a lot of people, when you first get out of canine school, a lot of people, like a lot of the sergeants and guys on the ships, one of the first things they would ask me is, how good is he at finding drugs? Well, he's good. Okay.
Right.
And that's fun. And when I first got in the canine, I thought, I want to find keys. I want to find that big lick. I'm thinking, and I got in canine.
When you say keys, you mean a kilo of cocaine?
Yeah. I want to find like a kilo of cocaine, a lot of large quantity of dope.
I was going to say, you just found some keys, my buddy. Nice.
You just found several keys, but the other keys you want.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to find a lot of dope. And, And Brian and Rocky said, Brian, I'll never forget. Brian said, boy, you find that man, you'll be hooked. You'll be hooked when you find a man.
He said, like, boy.
And I said, and I found my first one. I'm like, it is on. This is the shit. Finding a bad guy. And I had some really good ones. Justice stats were great. Vader's stats were great. The one that stands out to me that's probably, to be honest with you, it was a career highlight. Justice had some phenomenal tracks too. I mean, I've tracked guys with Justice and lost my cover officer, and Jeff Clark was like, where you at? In the woods off 74, I can't tell you.
All right, explain the cover officer thing.
Okay, cover officer. Okay, and Steve has to correct me on this because I get to talking. But cover officer is the officer with you. He's helping you. He is communications. He is looking out for a bad guy, watching your back while you work the dog, because it's hard to work a dog and everything else that goes in place. So you have, and depending on the level of the threat, you may have more than one cover officer. You may have cover officers with long guns. You may have one cover officer. It just depends on the severity and the potential violence, the potential threat of the criminal. So your cover officer is the officer who's covering you and with you and watching out. His main thing is comms and looking out for you. That's his main thing. Backup. It's your backup officer, but
comms being communication.
Communications. Yeah, his main thing is letting everybody know where you're at, where you're going, what's going on. His communication and everything like that. So that's his main job.
Right.
So we're doing that, and Jeff Clark, who's God rest his soul, great guy, sergeant with us. He was on the perimeter, which is the perimeter is what's the perimeter where it's surrounding. You want to try to keep the guy contained. That area, your officers are on that perimeter trying to make sure that they see the guy across the street. They see the guy. Keep it contained. That's what you're trying to do, is your containment, trying to keep that contained in the area. And I was like, I don't know. I'm in the woods off 74. So we tracked that guy for about 2 miles. But segueing into something else, I had one with Vader. Vader was my second dog. He was a shepherd too. He wasn't as big. He was about a 78, 80-pound shepherd. And if I had my pick, that's my bread and butter. I love about a 75 to 80-pound shepherd. Not too big, a little bigger, mobile, quicker, phenomenal. I mean, they got all the traits of a shepherd, but they're not too big. Vader. So we get a call one night. We get a call to Gastonia Memorial Hospital, and 2 nurses in the psych ward had been stabbed. And so we go
not in the psych ward. No, that never happened in the psych ward.
Crazy.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah. The backstory is this kid was 15, and they had, I don't know who called the shots, but they had a 15-year-old kid, and they had arts and crafts. So guess what the kid got in arts and crafts? Scissors. Scissors. So they get through with arts and crafts, and they go back, and he goes back to his room, and he called his sister, who's from Monroe, North Carolina, and said, I'm going to stab this nurse and kill her. Nurse comes back in there, nurse comes back there, and he stabs the ever-living hell out of that girl. Jeez. I didn't go up to the psych ward, but I heard it was like something out of Friday the 13th. I mean,
it was. I was up there. Yeah,
we up there. She was stabbed in the throat, had a trach, all this kind of stuff. About died. And so I get and he takes her badge, her hospital badge. And he stabbed another one too. She wasn't as bad, but took her badge and leaves the hospital. So we don't know where the badge is. We don't know if he can get back in the hospital. He went out the ER door, the emergency room door. So I get there, and Mike Lewis, who was with me at the time, we get there, and for a German Shepherd or a Malinois or Dutch Shepherd, tracking on asphalt is hard. I could go really deep into odor and all that stuff and disturbance in grass and vegetation.
But and W, you are deep in odor, by the way. But go ahead.
This odor.
Zinger.
So anyway, grass is, long story short, grass is much, much easier and conducive and better for them. Pavement and asphalt and concrete, a hard surface is hard for a shepherd. They're not as good as a bloodhound. Really? Bloodhound, different story. So our starting point was the emergency room door. And I look at Mike Lewis, I'm like, this ain't easy. So, and I think what helped me was I was more focused on that dog that night than anything, because they had the hospital locked down. The chief at the time, the assistant chief at the time, his daughter was working in the hospital. He couldn't get in touch with his daughter. Charlotte had flown the helicopter over because Terry Salt was our chief. So we had the helicopter come and look.
And Terry Salt came from Charlotte Neck PD.
Correct.
So he had great ties with Charlotte Neck.
Right. He had really good ties. So we had the helicopter coming. The hospital's on lockdown. Assistant chief doesn't know where his daughter is. Doesn't know if she's hurt or what. Oh, so we start tracking from the door of the emergency room on the asphalt. And I'm thinking,
I'm trying. Don't.
So Vader put his nose down and he tracked across that asphalt as pretty as I could ask. We start tracking out across the emergency room parking lot. We get into the wood line and we start traveling in the wood line, kind of skirting it, going from the wood line to the road, wood line to the road. And what he was doing, he was bouncing around back and forth, wanting to cross the road. So we get up to a point, and all of a sudden, Vader takes a real hard right and starts to cross Court Drive, which is Court Drive is the road that leads up to the hospital. Fairly good sized road. So he crosses that. We cross the woods into a construction site, and which y'all know Mike Watts, of course, but he makes a call, says we need to shift our perimeter, which means move everybody a different direction to make sure we keep this guy contained.
Right. And
we start tracking across that construction site. And what is now Reggie and Stephen at Summit Crossings is a medical complex now. We start tracking across there. We run up a hill, and we start crossing a hill, which was eventually going to be a road. It's dirt embankment. And all these culverts and pipes and stuff sitting around them. And all of a sudden, Vader stops, and his hackles come up, which is the hair on the back of his neck. And his tail kind of curls up. I'm like, I've seen this look. I know what this look is. Somebody's close. And before I could get it out of my mouth, the guy says, I give up. Don't let him bite me.
The kid?
We tracked probably half a mile, 3/4
of a mile. He wasn't too mentally unstable.
Yeah, he wasn't too crazy. He said, I don't want to get bit. The 15-year-old kid?
Yep.
Who stabbed everybody? Wow.
Okay. Who was Hispanic and claims he didn't speak English.
But he said, I don't want to get bit. He knew those fucking English words.
That's okay. Don't speak English either.
So here's the thing, though.
So the guy under the house was actually the guy that lived
in a padded cell?
Correct. He's never went to trial.
Really?
Yeah, he's claimed insanity and never went to trial.
Hey, I tell you a sidebar, the whole thing. When we got up to the psych ward, which was, I think, the 7th floor, it's a locked, closed facility. They would not let us in because of our firearms. We're your uniformed police officers. Would not let us in. And I gave the lady an ultimatum. We're coming in, and you go to jail or not go to jail. It's a crime scene. We've got to get in here. It was terrible. They didn't want to let us in because we had guns on. You can't come with the gun on.
And another person involved in that whole thing was my patrol sergeant at the time was Gary. Gary was my patrol sergeant. Johnson.
Gary Johnson. Yeah, he's on the podcast a lot.
Yeah, so he was my patrol sergeant at that time, and that was probably tracking wise. That was my career highlight. And I was with Gary at that point, and Vader was at a point in his career he was peaking. He was smoking. I mean, he was just. I put him on the ground. It was working out. Seemed like. We had several really good tracking finds off some DWIs. I had a case with Gary, so Gary calls me out there. And because Gary ended up, after all this happened, he nominated me for Officer of the Year. So that's where that came from. So
Oh, we had to get that in there, didn't we? We had to throw that in there.
Congratulations.
And Hound Dog, you still got a recording light on my side, by the way, Hound Dog.
I just did the "We're Not Worthy."
Oh yeah,
for people listening.
All through the year thing. Here we go.
But you know what Robbie Bryson told me? Robbie Bryson's come up to me and says, "At least you got it for being a police, not changing a tire."
That's true. That's happened before.
Has that happened before? Somebody got Officer of the Year for changing a tire?
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, about that same month, we get a call, and this guy says somebody breaking into his house. And I start going over there. I get halfway over there, and they say, "You can disregard. Don't worry about coming over here. This guy's crazy. He's nobody's breaking into his house." Mm-hmm. So I leave, and then Gary called me on the phone. "Hey, Doby, can you come back over here?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. What you got?" So I go over there. He's like, "This guy's crazy. He's saying somebody broke into his house." And his girlfriend's like, "No, he's not. No, nobody broke into the house." And the guy says, "Well, he's under the house." I said, "Can you just take your dog?" And Gary's like, "Look, we're going to let the dog search under the house. Prove to you nobody's under your house. Make sure you're safe."
I see where this is going.
So I do this. So I give my warnings just like normal.
Now, is this a crawl space, a basement? What is it? What is it?
What's crawl space? It was a crawl space in the back of the house. So it's like, your crawl space door. So I open up. I give my warnings. Vader's barking, doing his thing. So I send him in. He gets like 5 feet underneath the house from the doorway and stops and starts to bite at the insulation in the subflooring of the house. I'm like, "Leave that shit alone. Go find the bad guy." So I do it again, send him back out. He does the same thing again. This time he ends up pulling out a shaving kit. So I hand it to Gary and then open it up. The shaving kit is full of cocaine. They did a search warrant, found more cocaine in the guy's house. The guy had been snorting his own stuff, got paranoid about the guy breaking in his house, and started telling us the guy's under his house. So when we go in there, Vader finds his dope.
Wow. Cool. So the moral of the story is, don't call the fucking police on yourself when you're a dope dealer, you dumb fuck.
He had never, 7 years old, never been arrested.
Oh my God.
But he got trafficking cocaine. Yep. No, there was nobody under the house.
There was nobody under the house.
Just the dope. He hid his dope and forgot about it.
He hid his dope under there and forgot about it. Oh my God, story. That's hilarious.
Yes, Gary was like, I was like, "Go figure."
Wow.
Yeah, it looks like Hound Dog's playing hide and seek with us again. Here he comes back.
We apologize
for the video side of this. If you're watching us on YouTube.
Yeah.
We keep trying to make Hound Dog go away, but he keeps coming back.
He just likes the attention. Hey, so tell me this.
Hound Dog, I do not have a recording light for you right now.
But we could see and hear you. So, yeah. Hey, Doby, answer me this. I just have one, if you don't mind, Slow. What's the best in your career, because I'm this kind of guy, the best bite a dog's ever had? The best damage he's ever done to an asshole? Like, you know what I'm saying? Not literally an asshole, but a guy who's not a very nice person.
Vader had some pretty good ones. Justice broke a guy's arm one night.
Wow. Just by bite pressure?
Bite pressure. Vader bit a guy one night and punctured his shin bone.
No shit.
The funny story.
So they break bones and puncture bones, the bites.
So this is the story behind the puncture. So in July, I track a guy, and for Bruce Moore, which I think y'all talked to Bruce Moore. So I track a guy for Bruce Moore.
Yeah, he's lieutenant. Is it Clay County, I think, Sheriff's Office? But
something like that, up in the mountains.
Yeah.
So this guy's running through the woods with warrants. Vader gets in there, and his whole body doesn't get into, and this proves you the danger of it. His whole body does not get into the woods. I can see his tail, and all of a sudden, guy's screaming. He's got him right on the shin. I get back to we get done. Bruce takes him to the hospital, gets to the jail, and he says, "Come on, let's see something." He's getting him out of the car. I said, when he's got a leg cast, I said, "What did he do to his leg? I mean, what's the deal with the cast?" He said, "Punctured his shin bone."
Holy shit.
So fast forward these stories kind of all interlinked. So fast forward, in December, we have a home invasion up near our dispatch. We catch one of the guys on foot. He's run, and we catch him on foot. We're looking for the second guy. It is a real legit home invasion. These guys have stolen this old couple's candy and all their rolled coins and things like that. So we can't find it. So we get a witness that says, hey, the guy's behind the house over there, a couple houses down. So I put Vader down. I put him back on the ground, let him start tracking again. He tracks around the corner, goes around the house, and the guy's sitting there, he pops him in the wrist. And he grabs him by the wrist. Not a bad bite, but solid. Just good, solid, what he needed to do. This kid has all this guy. He's like 19 years old. He has all their candy, their money that he had broke into this old couple's house.
And you're saying candy like actual candy.
Candy. Right? Just he broke in their candy jar and took their money and their candy. This old, like 70-something-year-old couple. So,
wow, what a good haul! Great haul, guys. Really. Great fucking haul. Yeah.
We get him back to the car, and Jeff Clark again is talking. He's talking to this guy. He's like, and I'm getting all my information from my use of force report, which is what I have to document to say that he bit the guy and we were justified and write my story on what happened. So he gives me his name. I was like, do you know so-and-so? Yeah, that's my brother. He got bit by a fucking police dog too. Jeff Clark goes in there and says, it's the same damn dog. And that was the guy that he punctured his shin bone.
No shit. Mm-hmm. So does your dog have a great bite, or do these guys need to drink milk and their bones are fucking brittle and shit? Because they're not.
Well, he is eating candy, so
yeah, their diet's not the best. That's funny.
So tell you another.
Go away.
Stories to spin off of that.
Go away.
One of those guys was the first guy that he bit. So he walks up to. We have this big fight on Main Street at a bar one night. And Steven knows exactly what I'm talking about. So he's talking to this guy that's been in a fight. And this guy walks up to him trying to talk to Steve. And Steve's like, wait a minute, let me deal with this. We got two. I mean, it's a huge fight where they called everybody that could come help, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. It's called an all call, man.
All call.
When you call dispatch send us everything in the county. We need every manpower we can get.
So Steve's talking to these two people that had been involved in the fight. This guy walks up. And the guy walks up, he's trying to talk to Steve, and he's got like he had a bloody nose. Steve can tell you more, but and he wants to talk to Steve. She's like, hang on, let me talk to this guy. One at a time, we're getting everything sorted out. The guy face plants in front of Steve.
Just
I didn't touch him.
Over?
Didn't touch him. He just fell over.
I didn't touch him.
I let Steve tell the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy was the one that the dog bit first that punctured his shin bone. This was
the same guy.
Same guy.
Career criminals. And not good at it either.
So this is how he got shot. He goes and him and his buddy.
Wait. So he face planted, and you found out later he got shot?
Yeah, he could see on the back. He got shot. In the back.
So he face planted because he was shot.
Yeah,
and he's trying to talk to Steve, tell him he was shot.
And Steve couldn't tell he was shot because he shot from the back and he didn't have an exit.
Steve said, "Go away, bullet. Take you and your bullet wound. Get the fuck out of here."
We have priorities, man. You just got to wait. We have priorities here. Yeah.
So when the guy was
put your finger in it.
Yeah. Can't you see I'm taking this report?
So the guy, the reason he got shot, him and his buddy were taking another guy to get crack for him. But the guy says, I don't have any money. So he goes to the ATM just a block or so down from where the fight happened. All this is going on at the same time, completely separate. Right. So he goes over there, and the guy says, I got to go get money out of the bank. So he pulls up. He starts trying to take the gun from the one guy. So in the process, this guy pulls off around, shoots around, trying to shoot the crackhead he's trying to rob, but he shoots his buddy in the back.
Oh, my God.
So he's not bleeding from anywhere. Like, he's bleeding from his nose, but like he got maybe punched. And his nose fixed it. So when he falls over, he's like, oh. Didn't know this was going on. All this.
I'm like, crap. That's another report.
Going on the exact same time.
Damn. So the guy's got brittle bones, gets shot in the back. He's probably bleeding internally. Did he live?
Nope. So his best friend gets charged with first-degree murder.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's called a win-win,
Yeah.
And the kid that he bit the second time, the second brother,
In the wrist.
He has warrants one night. And I get I'm standing at the back door, make sure he doesn't run with Vader. He walks outside and looks at me and starts to walk back inside. He's kind of like, oh shit, what'd I do? Do I run? Do I not? I called him by name and said, hey, he bit you one time before. I'll do it again. I'll send it. Okay.
He gave up.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It only took a couple bites and his brother getting killed. He let me not run again.
I'd actually been to their house, and their house one of them was a crypt and one was a blood.
Right.
And one side was red and one side was blue of the bedroom.
And they lived together.
They were little brothers lived together. And one side was blue, one side was red.
Wow.
And then talking about biting into the bone. Let's talk about training for a minute there, Doby, if you don't mind touching on that. When you're wearing that bite sleeve, the dog comes and he hits that sleeve. You can still feel every tooth. You can feel the pressure, and it's like a vice clamping down on your arm. Mm-hmm. And it'll leave, with the actual canine stuff, it'll leave bruises on your arm through that bite sleeve.
Bruises, it'll leave knots, it'll leave whelps. It's actually about 400 pounds of pressure per square inch.
Wow, 400 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And think about it, it's not a sharp, it's a dull. And if he gets, I've had him go through the bite sleeve we use, the padded arm that we used for training. I've had him bite me and come across, and the actual canine will get on your wrist bone. Brian Russell's dog did that to me one time. He kind of come over that was right on that wrist bone. It felt like it's breaking.
Wow.
A lot of pressure.
A lot.
Oh, yeah. Those dogs just are so worth they're such, and like Slow was saying, you could pull that dog back, but you can't pull a bullet back,
Nope.
And the dog can't be used against you, but your gun can. It's just such a good resource,
Well, I'm telling you, our training facility was at the Gastonia Airport. We had, it's a small airport. We have a paved runway, and then we have a grass emergency runway. And our training facility was at the end of that grassy runway. And we have search boxes. We had 6 boxes set up, and I think, what were they, like 4x4 cubicles, Doby, I think?
48 inches is 48 inches.
And, you get inside the box, you hide. Yeah, you get inside the box, and the dog, with Jeff Ford was building these boxes, a whole nother story. But you made me lose train of thought. How you hide inside these boxes? And the dog, they don't see what box you're in. He comes in, he sniffs to try to find which box the bad guy's in. So tell a story about the time that Bozart's lead broke, his leash.
Oh, gosh. So I'm about 100 yards down the field because I had went somewhere and come back. And you have 6 boxes, and these are set up. What we used to do is called the United States Police Canine Association. That was the governing body that oversaw our certification. And you have 6 boxes. They're 48 inches by 40 inches square, and they're 3 on one side, 3 on the other. You've probably seen them over at y'all's place.
Sure.
And there's what they call a hot box, which is a box that a person has been in but is not in anymore. Then there's a box that is the box that the bad guy's in. And the other one don't have anybody in it either. So the dog has to go check each box. And when I mean check, he stops, sniffs it. No, he's not here. Stops. Oh, he's here. And he starts raising hell. So Ronnie Bozart was one of our handlers. His dog.
Very laid back fellow.
Very laid back. More laid back than Brian Russell.
Oh, okay.
Super. He grew up over on West Side of Charlotte. Really good guy. Brother and father retired from Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Department. Son works there now. Really, really good guy. So his dog is checking the boxes. Steve is hiding in the boxes, and it's what we refer to as a top-loaded box, which means the lid comes up, you get down in the box from the top, pull the lid down. Some will have the door open up from the side. So
and there's no bottom. You got grassy bottom, and you got the all plywood around you. Go ahead.
Right, and you have just a cheap little stool to sit in there while you're waiting.
Yeah.
So Ronnie gives his warnings like you would do on a building. It's to simulate a practice for a building search. That's what it's to simulate. So Ronnie's dog checks the boxes. He gets the box Steve's in. He does his thing. He starts barking and raising all kinds of hell. And he gets the dog, puts him on his leash, which we refer to as a lead, but a leash. It's a really good leash. I mean, it doesn't sound like it at this point, but they're really top-end, high-quality leather leashes and things. So really good brass fixtures and snaps.
I'm sure they are for to hold an 80-pound dog.
Right.
Time it's got to be pretty sturdy. Yeah.
So Ronnie gets there, his dog, he puts him on his leash, brings him back, tells the bad man to come out of the box. Steve comes out of the box. He stands up. Dog sees him. He's barking and fussing and doing his thing. All of a sudden, Ronnie's lead breaks.
And I am Houdini, boy. I disappeared back in that box quick.
And so the funny thing there's two funny things about it. Steve is like screaming. I'll be honest, he was screaming like a middle school girl.
Like a schoolgirl?
Yeah. And Ronnie is sitting there, because Ronnie is if you know Ronnie, it really sinks in. And Hound Dog knows Ronnie well.
That was me.
Yeah. Ronnie is really, really laid back. And he's sitting there holding his leash, his hands looking at him like, what?
Oh, he's processing. He's processing in his head what happened.
Yeah, the dog the whole time dead on coming straight at me, and I try my best to get back in that box, get that lid closed.
Your only protection is the box, because
these are all. This is seconds. We're talking about only seconds for all this to happen.
You don't have a bite sleeve or any protection, but that fucking box with no bottom.
Correct.
Yeah. Gotcha. I got you.
So, and it's funny because Ronnie's like, what?
He's figuring it out while the dog is a missile towards.
He's starting looking at his lead like, I can't believe this broke.
He slows him out and gets some bone holes.
Yes, it was quite funny.
Oh, yeah, if you lived in Gaston County, you don't know what you heard, but you heard it, and that was me. It's like a 5-year-old girl, get your dog, get your dog, get your dog, get your dog.
That's funny. Funny.
You can't help it. You can't help but laugh at that stuff.
Wow, that sounds great. That's the great thing about K9 too, being a canine handler, is you get to go to all the cool calls. You know, or a lot of the cool calls. They're always drug related. They're always suspect related. You always got something really good going on because liability wise, we just can't call K9 to do anything. Some things that don't rise to the level of a serious crime or a felony, it's hard to justify a dog bite when you're talking amongst us by ourselves. Hey, should we send the dog? Well, all he did was steal a shirt. I mean, I don't. There's always that. Does the crime fit a dog tearing you a new ass? Right. So, but when you're a canine, you get called with the calls. Man, most of them are solid. And you get to solve a lot of crimes. You get to catch a lot of bad guys. You get to inflict some fucking pain, which I can say now is I love. A little bit of payback, and so I just think it would be great. I missed my opportunity. That sounds like a great job.
When you go back to serious, is what I had. Probably the most serious one I had was, I was with Vader, my second dog. I was working at Walmart down there. I was working at that shopping center. I was actually off duty, and day shift dog could go home, night shift dog can't come in. So
when you say off duty, you're working off duty in police capacity.
Yeah, I'm working as a police officer for a private business to make extra money. So I'm working at over there at Walmart, and they get a shoplifter call. Somebody stealing from the store. Kind of minor, sounds like. The guy runs out the store. They chase him. He hops in the back of a pickup truck with a TV. And that pickup truck says, no, you're not getting in the back of my pickup truck. He gets out of the truck, runs in the woods. And it wasn't a real long track, but he ran in the woods and started running the wood line. So I got Vader. I was leaving to go home. And so I got Vader out. I let him start tracking. He got about 10 yards or so into the wood line, just where you couldn't see. And he's just kind of skirting the wood line. And we start tracking back towards Charlotte. All of a sudden, Vader stops. And he's just on the edge of the wood line. You can just see the grass outside the woods. And again, head comes up. He starts looking, and I knew that look. He was just in that intense.
That's called what? Air scenting?
Air scenting. And he was seasoned at that point, which means he had been in the game a while. He knew the look. He knew the bad guy. He knew what to do when he found the bad guy, and he was going to do what he needed to do. So he was not. Neither one of my dogs were really aggressive. I mean, Reggie, tell you, my first one was social. Justice was social. He's a sweetheart. So Vader, I was like, okay, that bad guy's there, and so I started giving my warning, saying, hey, come out, let me see hands, or I'm the dog. Because I really had a larceny at that time, so it was kind of like not really what I wanted to do was send him. That guy starts to run. He runs straight across Franklin Boulevard, Maine's Highway 74, right there in front of where Verizon is right now. So I'm like, I can't send him. It's literally 4:45 on a Friday afternoon. I can't. There's no way I can send him. So I started taking. We have about a 30-foot leash to give him room to work. So I kind of shortened it up so we can kind of start pursuing him on foot. The guy runs out of the shoulder road across onto the roadway, and when he does that, a car slams on brake. If that car would have waited 3 more seconds, he'd have cut that guy flip. But he got stopped.
Saves some taxpayers' money.
Yeah, so he gets stopped, and you see this when I see it, and he stopped leaning against the car. And he goes around to the side of the car, and he starts to try to carjack this old guy. He's jerking on the car. Guy's smart, and he just punches it. About rips his finger off. And by that time, everything had stopped. Traffic was stopped. Everybody's looking to see what's going on. I've got this. Everything's like, oh, what's going on? So he's laying in there almost into this concrete median, and I tell him, stop, I'm going to release the dog. He looks at me. I mean, he looks dead at Vader and gets up and starts to run. I'm like, oh, all right, it's a clear shot now. Mm-hmm. So I drop my lead. He's wearing shorts. It's in the middle of September. And Vader grabs him by the hamstring. That's what he got to. Just drug him down. I think it was like 22, 24 staples later.
Oh, my God. But the hamstring, too. Into the back of your leg?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and those bites are never pretty. We have to go in and investigate, take pictures of the bites, that sort of thing. And I was, canine sergeant. I done all the use of force of a canine. And let me tell you, if you ever seen these bites afterwards, you're going to give them to ER stuff, man, you'd never run from the police.
Oh, I've
never
seen
never run from the canine anyway.
That's what I'm thinking.
Guys, we were running really close on time. We're actually just about a minute over. Doby, what we do here, man, we'd like to have you back at some point, brother.
Anytime. Say when, brother.
And awesome. You got any special shout-outs or anything? Anybody you want to say hey to or shout-outs to? We'll give you this. This is your time.
A couple. One, just to the guys and girls that are still out there doing the job, because I'm not the police anymore, but I got people watching my family, my back, my friends.
You are the police. You're just retired police.
Right. So there's people out there doing what I did. And then the ones that are out there holidays, nights, weekends, especially special shout-out to those that wear a gray shirt. And if you're in Gastonia, the street crimes unit, those boys do a phenomenal job. They're the tip of the spear. They go in places people don't want to go. Other officers don't want to go. And anybody that's followed behind the dog, they know they're going in first. And also one more special shout-out to Pentosa Kennels in Scotland Neck, North Carolina, Tennessee, Bowling, and Mike. They do a phenomenal job in these dogs that they import and sell to police departments. Customers, they have been over backwards for us. Their customer service is phenomenal. Just really good people.
Sounds great, brother. You missed that one, though. The greatest sergeant in the world, canine sergeant in the world, Sergeant Steve Covard. But that's okay. That's another day.
I knew that was coming.
All right, guys.
As long as you're not letting the bad guy run from your handcuffs, Steve.
Yeah, it's a whole nother story, man. We need to get into that at some point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Thomas, we'd love to have you back, man. It's going to be great. I got just a few things. One is last episode, season 6, episode 1. I said it right that time. We talked about certain things about a guy and a dog. So if you hadn't seen episode 1, go back and see it.
I did.
Jerry Millwood commented in the comment section of that particular show, and he was the master at the time that was working. They brought the bad guy in about that dog. So it's one, and Jerry Millwood's a big fan and a great friend of the show. He's been on a couple of times about the Bigfoot stuff. He's writing a book about Bigfoot.
Yeah,
Bigfoot or Sasquatch.
Yeah,
or Yeti.
Whole other story.
Whatever.
Yeah, he's go back and look at that, man. Read the comments. It's pretty funny.
We'll do it.
All right, guys, and I got one more quick thing. He says a buddy of mine, buddy of ours, Hillbillies. He's a renegade pig up north. Beloved friend and of ours, listed podcasts all the time, and we'll go more detail on this at a later show. But he says, man, if people fuss about living in America, how bad America is, and how restricted it is, man, go live somewhere else. His daughter is in Germany right now. Post something on the internet. The authorities come in the next day, go through her computer, charge her 1,500 euros, which is, he says, about the equivalent of about $1,500 here, for posting something on a public site on the internet. So
How about people in Britain standing on a sidewalk singing religious songs and praying in front of an abortion clinic get arrested in Britain? Arrested, not fined. Arrested.
Isn't that crazy? Hillbilly, we love you, man. Appreciate you checking this on. Any last things that you guys got?
Freedom in the country. That's we got to keep freedom alive. Yep.
I got something as long as I'm sitting here. I don't know if anybody's going to actually see this or hear what I've said or not said. Shout out to Dave Glasscock, Sharky of the Renegade Pigs. He come up to visit and brought me a sleeve of Buffalo Trace mini bottles. Those are very hard to find. But I appreciate that, Sharky.
Yeah, next time you see him, man, give him my mailing address, will you please?
I'm okay. If you quit knocking me off the computer, if you couldn't delete or stop recording.
You button pushing bastard.
Yeah, I'll push the button. All right, guys, appreciate it. Hey, if you like the content on here, if you like what you see, you like what you hear, man, hit that like button. Please subscribe. We need the followers. We need to get this build up. Now, I'm not going to say it right, but it puts us out where more people can see this show.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Thomas, we love you, brother. Thanks for being on the podcast.
I'll be glad just to say when. I'll be glad to come back.
Take care, brother. We'll see you.
All right.
And all you first responders out there, please be careful that they're home.
Yeah. Doby, do not turn your computer off, Doby. We need this to upload.
All right.
You mean it's over? Well, shit.